Welcome to another edition of My Quest to Teach, my podcast that talks about education, technology, science, engineering, mathematics, all the elements that accompany a STEAM environment. And let us not importantly forget the arts that are included. So when we're talking about STEAM, we have science, we have the technology, we have engineering, we have arts, we have mathematics. So all of those work together to accomplish a cross-curricular or interdisciplinary mission to educate young people. To go along with the STEAM area, I recently had an opportunity to be able to present at two workshops several days ago. One was the African American Episcopal Church Youth Leadership Conference in Palm Coast, Florida, where I talked about STEAM, social media, and the elements therein within social media, and youth responsibility and accountability for their social media content. The other conference I had an opportunity to participate was the Hip Hop Youth Development Leadership Conference in Orlando, Florida, where I also talked about social media, but it was more of an emphasis towards bullying and cyberbullying. There are many changes in the state of Florida addressing bullying and cyberbullying, bullying at school, bullying online, and even bullying in the communities. And I had an opportunity to talk to over 300 youth at the Hip Hop Conference and over 200 youth at the AME Youth Leadership Conference. And these were great opportunities to share some information, to get some feedback from the young people that I was engaged with and talked to and mentored with, and they were great opportunities. This led to my recent blog, Parents Google Your Child, to empower and encourage parents to stay connected with their children, not through social media, but in conversation and dialogue and talking to their children. It is very important that parents understand their role in teaching their children how to use social media, because youth are being judged by their social media content, and more through the traditional media, newspapers, television, and radio. We hear about professionals losing their jobs because of their postings on social media, and many of it is from frustration about the everyday events that are going on, either with their relationships or with work or things happening in their community and their lives. And people are taking their frustrations out, sharing how they feel and what they're thinking on social media. And this is deemed inappropriate and unprofessional. Even though a person is not at their particular workplace or work site or working in their career at that particular place that they're employed at, they're venting their frustrations and their emotions on social media, and it is causing many people to lose their jobs. So to help parents or encourage parents to be more involved in their children's social media aspect, I wrote Parents Google Your Child. And it starts as a parent with two children, I am my parents' friend on their social media sites. As a presenter at two recent conferences, the AME Youth Leadership Conference in Palm Coast, Florida, and the Hip Hop Health Summit in Orlando, Florida, my presentations focused on social media content as it relates to bullying and cyberbullying. Speaking with over 300 young men at the Hip Hop Conference, attending my sessions, there is, from what I learned from the young people there is a disconnect between teens, young adults, and their parents. This motivated me to write this blog about parents Googling their children to see what they are doing online. Parents, your child's SoLoMo, or social, local, mobile, online presence is influenced by the use of digital media, the platforms that provide a social media presence. Technology has integrated, infused, and intruded into millions of youth and teens' lives. Students from elementary to high school have direct communication with each other 24/7, 365. Many parents have no clue to the connective power of social media. Presenting earlier during the week, which was actually last week, I had the opportunity, as I stated before, to present at the AME Church Conference. So technology has integrated into our lives so much that children can communicate with their friends or basically anybody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So the influences of social, local, and mobile technologies is really hard to grasp. And parents really need to have that discussion and that dialogue with their children, sit down and talk to them about what their children are actually doing online and what are their social media tools that they're using. The influence of social, local, and mobile technologies is so powerful, it can influence a student's opportunities for college acceptance, employment, internships, military acceptance, and even academic social performance in school. The world is very competitive and students are competing for the best colleges and careers. Social media has an effect on their positioning. The establishment of a student's online reputation is determined by the content they create and post. Reputations are influenced tremendously because the first impression society has of youth today is through social media platforms. Examples can be seen through the Trayvon Martin case and his posted content. So powerful is this that both sides of this legal battle are focusing on exposing or hiding Trayvon's digital content. Social media content has created a paradigm shift in a youth's reputation and their first impressions to the world. Parents, your children should understand that their social presence has far more ranging consequences. What they post online never goes away. A youth and teen's social media presence and content will never go away. I can't emphasize that enough. There is no longer the initial physical handshake that creates a first impression in the traditional manner. The handshake is digital, graphical, and multimedia. The middle and high school students in attendance at the hip hop conference were asked to take out their cell phones to reflect on the value of thinking and reasoning. And the way I shared this was that their cell phone could be their best friend or their worst enemy, depending on the type of content that they post. The increase in social media platforms has influenced students even in elementary school, ages from 8 to 12, to spread their content across the world. Parents must understand that their children are cloning themselves across a digital landscape using avatars that they create. Avatars are clones of these particular young people. These avatars can be posted as textual, graphical, and multimedia and are posted on Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, Vine, Vimeo, Instagram, SocialCam, Twitter, Google+, Rebel Mouse, and the list continues to grow for social media platforms. Businesses and colleges are investigating potential candidates and those in their networks and friends to see if they are worthy of acceptance and hiring. The Google Meet process is a safeguard or a stopgap to check what is visible from posted content. This should be done at least twice a month so parents can view what their children are doing and how they are active, especially during summer break. Colleges want to make sure their students are not bringing controversial agendas on campus, similar to the recent Boston bombing suspects. The best way to track or monitor a student's psychological and emotional state is to look at their digital content, which many schools, which even the federal government now through their probes are looking at millions of people's social media content. And we've heard the recent reports about phone tappings through cell phones, looking at people's digital content, hacking into sites, investigating people without their knowledge. Maybe parents need a prism to monitor their children's online activity, or in layman's terms, create digital condoms to protect against potentially damaging content. And the truth be told, that there are young people that have been rejected into coming into higher educational institutions or colleges because of their digital content. There are young people that have been rejected for internships because once they are investigated or checked or background checked, some of their social media content is inappropriate and their behavior is reflective of potentially their actions. So it's important for young people to understand that once they apply for an internship or they apply for a scholarship or they apply for employment, once they make that initial application process, which is online, the Human Resources Department or another entity may do a background check on them and look at their social media content. So a lot of businesses look at their reputation in the community and how a young person's association with groups or their actions online will impact that. The potential for bullying, sexting, cyberbullying, and cyberstalking are a possibility as young men shared this information at the Hip Hop Summit. In a digital society using SMH, which means shake my head, or LMAO, or laughing my A off, or WTF, and then you can fill in what the F is, represent the extension of emotions. Emotional drama is still present and influences a lot of discussions on social media. Social media trainings and workshops should be available for youth and teens to prevent drama that can be destructive in nature. Media elements focus on the negative digital lifestyles of youth, as seen again by the reports of Trayvon Martin. It is remarkable that the media can access a youth or teen social media platforms and manipulate the perceptions that will either offer sympathy or condemnation against that teen. And even during the hip hop conference and the AME conference, you shared with me how a lot of drama is brought up between girlfriends and boyfriends and who likes who and who is jealous of whom, and the continuous back and forth with profanity, racial slurs, and information that is shared. And youth are spontaneous, and they may not at the moment remember or understand that that content is stored on a server someplace, and it never goes away. Young ladies are advised not to participate in sexting, where they're sending partially nude or totally nude pictures of themselves to others, because that person is not guaranteed not to share that content with someone else or other groups. And there have been cases across the nation where high school students and middle school students, young ladies, have shared their pictures with an individual who they're trying to impress, or a boyfriend, or someone they're trying to make this big impression, and they send a nude or partially nude photo to them. And this has caused problems because that person may either reject them or may not have the same feelings and take that digital information and share it with other people. And unfortunately, this has caused several suicides and suicide attempts by young ladies for the most part, but also with young men with their social media content. Parents must understand what their children are posting and Google their children every 2 months to check on content, pictures, video, and activities, along with who they are associated with. During my presentations, the term I use, guilt by association, responsibility and integrity, and accountability and spirituality, all play a part in youth and teens judged by the company they keep and interact with in online environments. They are guilty by association because of the postings of friends and family. If teachers, law enforcement personnel, congressmen, attorneys, and other professionals can lose their jobs from inappropriate content, A warning to be sure to see potential conflicts in SOLO-MO or social, mobile, local content. Teens now have global exposure and must be taught how to gauge their content. If a youth or teen is not responsible for their social media content, there may be far-reaching consequences that transcend into the adult world. Maybe the prism is not a bad idea for parents to use, or a programmer can create a social media condom to protect youth and teens from posting damaging information. For now, it is up to parents that are responsible and accountable to and for their children. Let me repeat that. For now, it is up to parents that are responsible and accountable to their children. Summits that I have presented and participated in, such as the Education Summit here in Jacksonville, Florida, Journey into Womanhood, again here in Jacksonville, Florida, Jacksonville Urban League Leadership Summit, Journey into Womanhood here in Jacksonville, AME Youth Leadership Conference, Hip Hop Health Conference in Orlando, and also the Man Up Health Summit here in Jacksonville, Florida on Saturday, June 22nd. These summits, workshops, expos, conferences should be filled to capacity by parents, educators, politicians, and those that represent all our religious and ministerial denominations to empower and engage parents, to strengthen families and build intelligent youth, teens, and young adults that will lead us in the 23rd century. It takes a village to raise our youth to be leaders. And that's why it's important for parents to be involved in their children's social media activities, to find out what they're doing online, to research them, to Google them. And not just to Google pictures, but to Google the content that they may be blogging about or tweeting and microblogging, or the Vine with the 6-second or 8-second videos. Parents need to be aware of the content that their children are sharing, because you never know, once that child becomes an adult and the successes that they experience through life, you don't want that cut short because someone finds a video or someone finds some type of content that could be damaging to their child. And there already have been several people from the blog that I wrote relating to this that have made negative comments about, why parents shouldn't investigate their children, or why parents should give their children freedom. But you have to understand, just as the internet is free, television programming at one time was greatly monitored, but now it doesn't matter what time during the day, there's inappropriate messages being sent to children, either through language or actions. At one time deemed inappropriate for television, but then gradually it was integrated into scenes during movies and television programs and series, where now it almost seems like anything goes. So that also includes the internet. The internet is unregulated, so parents cannot afford to let their children just sit there and cruise the internet or view the internet any way they want, because there is a lot of inappropriate information out there, and you don't want children to get caught up in situations that could endanger themselves and also endanger their families as well. So I hope this blog has been very beneficial. As always, if you would like to ask further questions or to speak with me, just send me an email. My email is williamderrickjackson@gmail.com. That's WILLIAM. Derrick is DEREK. Jackson is JACKSON @gmail.com. And I enjoy sharing ideas and learning from people and just sharing content and information. That way we can empower and help children. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast.